In the darkest moments, our senses come alive. Our hearts race, and our pupils expand to see further into the darkness. But for the rebels in this situation, shutting their eyes may have been the wisest option. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's been 6 years since Rogue One released in cinemas, delighting Star Wars fans at the time and bringing with it one particular cinematic masterpiece of a scene that still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Be sure to leave your thoughts on this scene in the comments. The carefully orchestrated and horrifying way in which Darth Vader operates in this scene is unlike anything we've seen from the Sith Lord in previous Star Wars movies. Sure, Vader's entrance in A New Hope is one of terror. During The Empire Strikes Back, George Lucas showed us the ruthless nature of Darth Vader. And in Return of the Jedi, we see Vader's unwavering allegiance to the dark side.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
And yet, nothing could have prepared us for what was about to unfold. I can only equate my experience of watching this scene at the cinema for the first time as an out-of-body experience, and this particular scene is still the most thrilling and exciting moment I've ever had at the cinema. It was a complete sensory overload. The writers, cast and crew behind Rogue One did a wonderful job of building the stakes for both the story and our characters. The tension is tangible.
Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
The sheer desperation of our heroes is palpable.
Climb!
And the bravery shown by the rebels is emotionally uplifting.
Rebellions are built on hope.
The culmination of all these events which come before the final moments of the movie meant that when the curtain dropped and Vader appeared, everything that was on the line was seriously on the line. You could almost reach out and touch the delicacy in which the future of the galaxy depended on. Diving back into the final few moments of Rogue One, in order to save the galaxy, the rebels would first have to survive Darth Vader's House of Horror Gauntlet. The scene is layered and poignantly staged to evoke every sense of fear and dread possible from both the viewer and the rebels. From a physical standpoint, the hallway setting is all-encompassing. It's the type of scenario we see often in our worst nightmares. The alarms echoing through the hallway heighten the foreboding sense of horror. The rebels have one way out, or so we believed. This brings us nicely to Darth Vader.
Air boarding party.
To elicit the most amount of fear in the rebels, demonstrate his true power, and his unwavering connection to the dark side, Vader carefully orchestrated a succession of events before reaching the Tantive 4. Firstly, using the Force, Vader jammed the only exit shut, trapping the rebels inside the hallway. This is the first time in this scene we feel Vader's connection to the dark side reverberate throughout the hallway. If you want to save the galaxy, there is no escape. You must face Vader. The second part of Vader's orchestrated entrance is even more twisted than the first. Seeing that the lights had gone dark, Vader decided in a split second to turn all the lights off on his breathing apparatus and belt, so that when he finally revealed himself, it would be the most spine-chilling moment the rebels had ever encountered. You face Vader on his terms, and you will be terrified. It's also worth noting that the lights on Vader's suit remain off until this moment. So does that mean Vader held his breath whilst the bloodbath ensued, and only took a breath when the slaughter was over? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. Back in the hallway, standing between Vader and the Death Star plans, rebels valiantly do all they can to prevent Vader from reaching the plans. Their own efforts, however, bring about their own demise, as Vader demonstrates his true power. It's important to note that until this moment, Darth Vader was no more than a myth to these rebels, an evil legend lurking in the galaxy's shadows. But in the blink of an eye, Vader became their worst nightmare. To the viewer, the depth of Vader's connection to the dark side was yet to be fully experienced, and now, here it was, on full display. Rebels are hoisted to the ceiling and sliced with ease. Vader, using the Force, rips the Rebels' weapons from their hands. Vader force chokes his way to the door, taking down the last of the remaining Rebels. As the Death Star plans are passed through the gap, Vader releases the door, only when he needs to exit the hallway. Of all the remarkable moments in this scene, Vader finally releasing the door only when everyone is dead is equally as poetic as when he first jammed it shut, trapping everyone inside. The plans eventually make their way to Leia, in a wonderful and touching tie-in to the start of A New Hope. But what we experience in the hallway scene is surely one of the greatest sequences in the entire history of Star Wars. I feel like I'm in that hallway, sensing the same fear, horror and anxiety as the Rebels experience. That's in part thanks to the amazing writers and team behind the movie, and in part due to seeing Vader unlike never before. A variety of decisive and important creative decisions throughout the movie bring this scene together and make it as heart-pounding as it is. The distinct lack of Vader in this movie is one of my favourite choices. Not only does it make the hallway scene all the more shocking, but it shows that the writers knew just how to handle a character such as Darth Vader. They showed us something original. This brilliance is how you enrich a character and deliver to the audience a scene they have only ever dreamt of witnessing. It's very reminiscent of the original trilogy and the way George Lucas would inspire hope, or show us the true meaning of the dark side.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
We each have our select moments in Star Wars that we return to, and for me, this is one of those moments. After 6 years, this sequence still elevates me off my seat. I become even more aware of my own passion for Star Wars with every viewing, and the actions of Darth Vader send my senses into overdrive. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this scene in the comments, especially how the experience was for you first time around in the cinema. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button to support the channel. And may the Force be with you, always.